So there's this new API that I've been really excited about for about a year and a half now, almost, the Web Audio API. I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it right now directly, obviously. I have a talk later this afternoon if you want to hear more about it. But one of the challenges with any new API like this is in effectively educating developers on how to use it. And I have the benefit of virtually working right next to somebody who is an audio signal processing engineer. And I can ask him lots of stupid questions, and I do. But not everyone has this benefit. So my friend and coworker, Boris Smoos, decided about a year ago now, I guess, to write a book on the Web Audio API. And I spent a lot of time helping him review this, structure it, everything. And Nellie and I are kind of here to talk about the format of that book. Nellie?
All right. So it seems pretty obvious that we would want to publish a book about this technology on the web, right? It's really the best place to showcase the awesomeness of the Web Audio API. But the problem is that publishers have it pretty tough right now. Imagine if, in addition to making your site work on the usual outputs, you also had to make it work on, like, trees and dead browsers from a million years ago. This is essentially the publishing landscape of today. And then when you add the web into the mix, it's actually a total game changer. And you wouldn't think this. We already publish all of our books as ebooks. And ebooks at their core are mostly just HTML and CSS wrapped up in a package. So we're essentially publishing every book as a little self-contained website. The problem is that the devices that can read these ebook files generally only support like a fraction of the full HTML and CSS functionality. They support what they think a book should need to use. It's a lot like the browser landscape of 10 years ago, where you're jumping through hoops to try and get your site working on all of these different browsers, and you end up compromising on functionality. But when you stop thinking about publishing and the web as two distinct things, then you have a real opportunity to harness the power and the richness of the web platform to really build a more enhanced interactive book. So when we get rid of that package and we stop trying to make our ebook files work on these crippling devices, then we have a much better opportunity to show technology off, as Chris is going to show us.
So we had my little demo that I completely skipped over, which is just, I use this technology to build a synthesizer. Took me actually just a couple days to do the synth part, so you can hear it. Oh, it even makes noise. Awesome. But the way that this technology lets us demonstrate to developers and teach developers how to build things like this, not only do you have your traditional content, and of course, content in tech books always gives you lots of code snippets and sort of examples that you can then copy and paste, and screen captures. But here, now we can actually just build straight in the actual demonstrations. So you can see a visualization in right in the page. You can actually debug this directly in the page as well. So if you don't understand from the code sample above, you can jump straight in and actually debug the code right there.
All right, so that's so cool, right? The problem is that we can't just get rid of ebooks, and we can't just get rid of the print book, because customers expect to be able to read in those formats, and some people just prefer it. So in addition to publishing those usual ebook and print formats, we have to add this new format into the mix that has this extra enhanced content that we can't put in the other formats. So what we need is for our content to we don't have the budgets to build like a custom website version of every book. Like, we can't go in and have a whole second production cycle for every single book to build this custom website. We're already publishing a bunch of different formats, but it's not like we're getting the same, like 2 or 3 times the amount of money. We're getting the same amount of money. It's just coming from different sources. So we need our content to be responsive. It's the same problem that you guys deal with every day, but it's taken even further. We need to be able to have one set of source files that can publish out to a print book and publish out to an ebook and publish out to this enhanced web version of the book without us needing to go in and do any manual intervention and add any extra stuff. But at O'Reilly, we couldn't find an existing tool that could do all of these conversions for us and give customers the online reading experience that we wanted them to have. So what we did is we went ahead and we built one. We built what's essentially a CMS, but without all of the CMS-y overhead. So it's a platform that's built on Git and that can publish long-form content responsively. You know, when you're building something like a content management system, you need to build a system that can work for like 90% of all potential scenarios right out of the box. O'Reilly has tons of different authors. They all have different writing styles. They're all dealing with different kinds of content and trying to include different kinds of examples in their books. So we needed to build something that could work for everybody without us having to go in and customize the toolchain for every book. So in the system that we built, our authors write in markup, and then they can choose which format to publish to. They can choose to publish the ebook or the print PDF or the enhanced web version. And the content gets run through some style sheets and some CSS and is formatted and transformed according to the formats that they chose. And I don't mean that just in terms of like appearance, but the content itself. So in the web version, you get these cool embedded demos like the stuff that Chris just showed us. And then in the print version, you can get like placeholder images or URLs that point to an online resource. And both of these things come from exactly the same files. Print is still awesome. It's got a user experience that's been refined over hundreds of years. But sometimes it's just better to see something in action. So to that end, we also made sure that we built support for embedding JS bins and iframes. So pretty much anything that an author can build, they can put in their book. And then once you embrace the web for both reading and writing, there's a real opportunity to build a more collaborative experience. So for example, you can put your book files on GitHub. And we actually built our system on Git for this very purpose so that you're using the same tools to write a book that you use to write code. So for example, as Chris and I are writing our book together, I can put the files on GitHub. And then he can fork the repo and make changes and then submit pull requests, and I can merge them in. That's all right.
And do comments as well. You can see there are comments in here from various people, myself and various other people who were helping kind of review our talk before we decided to give it.
Yeah, we really thought a lot about the relationship between authors and readers. And we wanted to build a commenting system that would work for both of them. So we built our commenting system so that it bubbles back from the reading environment into the writing environment. So like as we were building our talk, there was a lot of remote participation. Chris lives in Seattle, I live in Boston, and we also wanted to get feedback from the rest of the development team. So we put our notes in our reading environment, and the team went in and they added their comments, and the comments went back into the writing environment so that I could look at them and incorporate everybody's feedback as I wrote. You know, the web and publishing are just going to continue to converge as more and more reading moves to the web. And that means that more and more writing is going to move to the web too. And this means that we need to have systems that can scale and that can work for all of the different people and all of the different kinds of content that are going to need to be published. So the system that we built at O'Reilly is called Atlas. It's still in beta, but we really want you guys to play with it. Because, you know, we all have the same goals. We're just trying to distribute information. So we're really excited to work with you guys to find new ways to spread the knowledge of innovators. Thank you.
Thanks.